Hey ladies. Okay, so the next thing that I want to show you is nailing down your brand colors. Now, some of you might not feel quite ready for this yet, or some of you may totally not need this at all, if you have them nailed down to the color code already. Um, but I'm going to show you how, and then if you're not quite ready, you can come back to this when you are. And the reason I say some of you might not be is just, I've kind of quickly been looking at some of your brand boards, and I'm gonna do another video like in the next couple days, like uh giving feedback on some of the ones that you've posted in the group. Like for example, I have this one up right here because I chose a photo to use from this board as an example for how to nail down your brand colors. But what I wanted to point out here, I mean, it's totally fine to have the fonts and stuff here. Like, we're going to go over fonts in a different way, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. So I almost would keep this, which I didn't say, and there's no rule, so it's not wrong at all. I would probably keep these on their own board, the brand boards, like as, brand board inspiration ideas. And just kind of focus on, same with these, and then here I am going into feedback on this board. But I'll give more feedback in the next couple days, like I said, on some of the other boards too. These two are kind of more, we're going to search for things like this after we already have your colors nailed down. So it's kind of a different process. But again, there's no right or wrong. It's, whatever. Anyway, so what's more helpful for a brand board on Pinterest is just things like this with some rich color to them. But on this particular board, like right here, I'm seeing like these mesh fairly well. This is pretty dark and moody compared to the others, but like we're doing good so far. But then we kind of get into some neons, like, so we're just very kind of neutral and soft here, and then we're getting into like some neons and then even like some jewel tones. So this, like with this brand board, there's just still some more work to do as far as really nailing it down, and this isn't easy. I mean, it's definitely not easy, and you could pick really any of these color schemes that you found and like and run with it, and that's totally fine. And it's not like, branding is extremely important to me, yes, but it's also not like the end of the world if you change your logo or your colors in the next few years. Your brand should be something that always evolves with you. So, in that sense, it's good to change things up. Now, obviously, depending on your situation, particularly like if you have something large like a storefront or a boutique truck like I do, it can get very costly to change your brand. So, it kind of depends on where you're at. If you're online only and all you're really worried about right now is like your business cards and things like that and your website, you're not you don't have to worry as much about like getting this exactly perfect right now. But if you're trying to wrap your truck, that's why when I did wrap my truck, which over here in California things are crazy expensive, so that was $5,000 over here. And so I was like, okay, I need to make sure that I still really love my brand. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I do. So it was time for a change before the truck. So anyway, those are all things to think about. So anyway, what I did though is I went ahead and saved just this photo to use as an example here. But it could be any photo. It could be a photo that already has specific colors laid out, or because let me kind of back it up here. What we're going to do is on this website here, COOLORS.co. This is what we're going to be using to build our color scheme. And you're going to just upload an image to choose your colors from. So And you can play around with this as long as you want, of course. So again, it can be like a normal image like that one that I saved. It can be one that already has your colors laid out, or if you have a few things going on, if you can pick like, 4, 5, or 6 photos that are very consistent and do, all fit the same vibe and mood, you can create a quick brand board in Canva and use that as your image to upload to coolors.co. And how you do that is, so if you hit brand, and I believe it's the brand guideline presentation. No, that's not it. Let's see. Brand. Mood boards photo collage. Canva has so many little tricks and tips and tricks up its sleeve. So, and you're going to see a lot of those as we go forward. So, you just pick one of these templates here. These are just, it's like you could totally put this together another way without one of these, but it's just kind of fun, to give you a visual representation of what you're working on. So, let's see which one I want to do. So, basically, like if you found other photos, these are just ones that are already in Canva, which actually you could look through there too and see if you find some. But you would just drag it into your mood board, and then you could say like, delete that. And then later on too, when we actually pick your specific font, we can go back, you can go back to this. So, I recommend doing this anyway, to have to work on later. Or not work on, but just to have for your own reference later, whenever you're working on any design projects, or when you're going to be working with a designer on something specific. So, I don't want to take too much time to look through images here, but anyway, you would just go on and build this, and you could wait on like the colors here until you have those nailed down and plug them in. But anyway, so this is another option if you want to pull colors from multiple images instead. So you would finish this up and then download it, and then that would be your image to plug into coolors.co to nail down your color scheme. Because the thing is, you want the exact hex codes for your colors so that in Canva you can set up your brand, which I'll show you later today. And then so that if you're just ever working on any other sort of a project where you have a printer or designer that you're pulling in, you're going to want these codes so that it's really consistent across the board. Okay, so, all right, all you're going to do is hit the camera and upload the image. So I was going to use this one as the example. And then, so it's going to already pull some examples for you, or you can, adjust them, but, let's say, okay. So these are definitely a lot darker than what I would have imagined for that photo. So you can go ahead and, adjust the color here and, the saturation as well. Those are probably the two that I would most play around with, until you feel like this is right. And you can also you don't have to, I would probably choose 2 to 3 like primary colors. Like those are going to be your go-to colors. And then possibly 1 to 2 secondary that you don't use a whole lot, but they can be used as accents. And then we're also going to go over, so after we have all this figured out, we're going to go over your fonts and other textures. So that's when you can bring in some glitter or, metallic rose gold or polka dots, like textures and patterns and prints and things like that. So we'll be going over that next. So this is the baseline, right, for everything. So, yeah, I feel like everything just needs to be a lot softer here. And then you can also like reorder these if, sometimes it just helps looking at it in a different way. Like this is really green. So, again, like this is all simple in theory. This may take you a while. It's not always easy. We do this with, all of our one-on-one clients, and sometimes it takes some time to get it right. So, and don't be afraid to play around with, just because that one photo was the one that I added, you could try a different one. It's not. So anyway, to save this, you would just hit export. I recommend saving it as both a PNG and a PDF, but it's totally up to you. The PDF, what's cool about it is that, here, let me show you. You can then actually cut and paste your codes. And it also gives you some of these other formats, which are useful, like especially if you're going to use Photoshop, that kind of thing. So the PNG doesn't allow you to cut and paste. So it just doesn't give you the flexibility. So it's just, it's really just an image. But that's helpful too if you want to like email it to yourself and have it on your phone or, whatever. But yeah, so this is the next step. And we're just easing into this. Like once we really get going here, there's really so much to cover. But, let's just kind of slowly step into the pool. That's how I do it anyway. I was not a jumper. So, anyway, I'd love to see your, brand colors once you figure them out. And then, like I said, I'll give some more feedback on some of those Pinterest brand boards in the next, couple days here so that if you need some clarity, maybe I can help provide that. All right. Thank you guys. And until the next video.